So today I am Jonalyn Intino from Group 1. For today I will be going to discuss the introduction of management, civil, electrical, and electronic. So in today's generation, with the rapid development of economy, the scope of computer application technology has been gradually expanded and applied in various fields. In computer application technology plays a decisive role in engineering projects. In the development of engineering management rely on the application of computer, where in the actual project of engineering management, the application of computer technology can fully integrate all kinds of data and information. Many logistical and managerial tasks carried out in the office environment. The joint functions of an agency are preparing, distributing, editing, and reviewing information. These works were done manually or with mechanical and electrical equipment before the invention of computers. The fundamental essence of an office has changed significantly in the past few decades. Automation of works using new techniques improves the overall skills of an office. Civil engineering experiments also require the development of complicated mathematical models to handle the large amount of data generated through a great number of repetitive experimental studies, thus offering a sensor modeling and simulation technology wide platform. Theory and technology of human-computer interactions. It is an important trend in computer applications. Sound processing is text-friendly, graphical content, its image, and its comfort. Its human-machine interface has been vastly improved. Civil engineering sampling techniques has been an innovation. So, the theory and technology of human-computer interaction will make the user's experience more enjoyable in the long term. So next is CAD is a method of developing the responsive CAD system, the Optima One CAD system, the Intelligent CAD system, and ultimately the implementation of integrated CAD interactive intelligence, where CAD is one of the most convincing and mature technologies in which using external CAD technical drawings, light transitions, surface decor, changes in dimensions, constructions, and other environmental impacts can be detected by computer designing using animation techniques. From very large-scale integration aspects, the digital circuit and central processor unit have led to the development of digital design and machine planning technologies. In respect to in respect to logic gates are used, the traditional 5-bit to low power CMOS can be built by utilizing various voltages, the 3.5 voltage, 2.5 voltage, and 1.8 voltage. So very large scale integration aspect, it is the process of creating an integrated circuit by combining millions of MOS transistors into a single chip. And the CMOS stands for the complementary metal metal oxide semiconductor. The CMOS is an integrated circuit built on a printed circuit board, a widely used kind of semiconductor used in transistor. Next, Meritor crossbar with NEND. A mobile computer built on flash has recently gained ground. The conversion of logical page numbers and to actual page numbers is suggested to the flash translation layer, owing the limitation of deletion before writing. Because of the expenditure of hardware and power usage of the semiconducting material storage unit, there is a very small RAM in it. The increasing convergence of the transistor system means that high energy capacity of temperature circuits have an enormous effect on the central of chip problems which lead to temperature hotspots. This influence will slow down existing speeds and generation of scaling. New methods are now used to eradicate this issue, and the methodology of machine learning is most helpful. Since computers have been extensively used and innovation have been developed, we can design and produce electronic devices such as sensors with the help of nanotechnology, which can be used to create smaller and faster computers. Let's proceed to the management computing. Um, Management computing is a broad term that includes manual and automated administrative processes in the operations of a computer. So, modes of data processing involves batch processing, online processing, real-time processing, and distributed data processing. For batch processing, these methods of processing allows the data to be clustered in batch form until they are analyzed on a serial basis and regular reports are collected. The batch may be collection of offline purchase requisitions or purchases. The package is handled at a defined frequency at a specified length of time and performed in a serial order for each transaction per batch. As the name suggests, batch processing is when chunks of data stored over a period of time are analyzed together or in batches. And also, in batch processing, transaction data is accumulated over a period of time and processed periodically. The batch processing approach eliminates the computer system's idle time, so there is no operating interference to change work from one task to another. It is the most suitable mode of treatment in many processes, such as accounting or customer statements, where information records is not required to be updated regularly. The drawbacks of batch production are follows. It prevents timeliness in some cases. At every point, one job is waiting in line, and hence the turning period often increases. The last is it is impossible to have the optimum quality timetable. The next mode of data processing is the online processing. Online computing is kind of processing that results from data processing. It makes possible to spread an account's information immediately from the site of generation without sorting them first, thus improving the functionality of storage structures under the CPU. By entering a computer dialog, a user can initiate an inquiry request, and the user can collect updates on their inquiry in a fraction of a second, where the user is directly interacting with the computer and the user is online with the computer. Online processing, it describes a situation in which computer devices are in direct communication with the CPU. So, these techniques facilitates the entry and execution of data directly. So, it does not store or accumulate first and then process. This techniques is developed in such a way that reduces the data entry errors as it validates data at various points and also ensures that only correct data is entered. This is widely used for online applications. And the example of online processing is airline booking systems, dapat your data your your data is correct. And then other example is order processing, and then withdrawing cash from an ATM. So kani siya, the online processing, it is also called interactive processing. And that's it for my report. Thank you for listening, and God bless to everyone.
Everyone, my name is Angela O'Reilly from BSCE 4A, and in this video I am going to discuss the two types of data processing, which is the real-time processing and the distributed data processing. So first is the real-time processing. The real-time processing is the method where data is processed almost immediately, so there is no pause or waiting in this method. It involves continuous input, process, and output of data. Input production and response are so limited that physical activity can be monitored alone. Effective time management requires all facilities' ability to quickly share input. This is not regularly as in batch processing. Real-time processing usually require a continuous flow of data. So these are some examples of real-time processing: bank ATMs, multimedia systems in automobiles, traffic control systems. If you think about it, nothing is really in real time. There will always be a slight delay. Even in the fastest real-time systems, there will still be a delay of 10 to the power of something seconds. So when we say real time, we're talking about the processing that takes less time than a specified benchmark. This benchmark varies from system to system. For example, you can consider data processing of a bank ATM to be real-time if it reacts in less than 1/10 of a second, but the same speed would be considered slow in a supercomputer. Real-time processing is used when you need the output on the go, and it has its pros and cons. So we have here the advantages of real-time processing. In real-time processing, the delay in data processing is minimal. Information is up to date and can be used immediately. You would need fewer resources to sync systems. It helps identify issues so you can take action immediately. We also have here disadvantages of real-time processing. In real-time processing, it is difficult to implement with simple systems. It requires high-performance hardware and is expensive. It adds an overload of data in case of system failure. Real-time systems need to be fast. If they aren't fast enough to process data as it comes in, it will create load on the system, and the system won't be working in real time anymore. So now let's move forward to the distributed data processing. Distributed data processing is the processing of data that is done online by different interconnected computers. It makes use of two or more computers that are networked together and all working on a single task in a well-coordinated fashion. The individual computers involved can be ordinary desktop or laptop machines, high-end machines, or specialized servers that carry out specific tasks like storage and retrieval of datasets. With proper communications, links, and instructions to the machines, a series of distributed computers can do the work of much more powerful standalone system and can even reach processing power and a speed of the fastest supercomputers. The term distributed, when used in phrases like distributed systems or distributed processing, is used fairly loosely to refer to any systems of networked computers performing a single function or group of functions in a coordinate manner. In some engineering and other specialized contexts, the term can be used with a more rigorous definition to refer only to a subset of such networked systems. These are some examples of distributed data processing: hosting a website on the online server, online photo editing tools, airline ticketing system, processing user data by mobile companies, Dropbox, Google Drive, Google Photos, report generation from satellite, weather forecast system. In distributed processing, there exists one main server which controls all other computers in the network. Distributed processing is done with high internet speed like querying the database. So next is the advantages of distributed data processing. Inexpensive. Doing processing by connecting personal computers from different locations can save money because they cost them $1,000. Data is also distributed, so adding and removing computers can be easy. Easy to replace remote computers. Microsoft Windows Server has a feature called failover clustering that helps to remove faulty computers. If any computer on the network fails or corrupted by some means, then that computer is automatically replaced by other computers. Optimize processing. Managing data on online servers solves slow processing. On a personal computer, we can do extra tasks also. Doing extra tasks consumes processor power. But the online computer is dedicated to one type of processing and is more likely to increase processing powers. Database servers can only handle database queries and file server stores files. So data processing is optimized. Easy to expand. Suppose your company needs more data processing than expected, then you can easily attach more computers to the distributed network. Parallel processing. Adding and removing computers from the network cannot disturb data flow. All data from different computers are processed in parallel. Parallel processing means data is updated at the same time from all nodes. Better performance. The overall performance of the company gets better and data is filtered and processed more rapidly in the distributed environment. Backup of data. Data can be backed up from any computer connected to the network, so the user can back up data at a different time and work with the data locally and then upload the data to the server. Local data synchronization. All the computers in the network can have local storage of important data. Suppose there are different office branches interconnected to each other. All branch computers are interlinked with the main branch office. All the office branch computers have a local copy of data. Office users edit and update data and then upload to the main server. So the data is synced and available to all computers. Working locally with data is easy and fast, and when the user thinks that his work is complete, then at the end of the day, he can sync that data with the main server. Data recovery. If some data like the database is lost in any computer, then it can be recovered by another interconnected computer. Example is main database server. So next is the disadvantages of distributed data processing. Complexity. Computers attached in DDP are difficult to troubleshoot, design, and administrate. Planning data synchronization is difficult. Doing the correct synchronization of data is difficult to develop. Sometimes data is updated in wrong order, so administrators have to keep the focus on it before making a distributed network. Data security. If the unauthorized computer is connected to a distributed network, then it can affect other computer performance and data can be lost also.
Hi, my name is Lambert Jan Apostol. So in this video, gonna talk about the basic function of data processing. So in other words, kaning data more information gana siya. So fundamental function of every information processing. So number one, we have the organization. Two is data capture. Third, sorting. Fourth, merging. Fifth, calculating. Six, summarizing. Seven, managing. Output result. Eight, storage. Nine, data hierarchy. And the last one is archive. So organization is a data analysis first involved generating the data to be collected. So muna ang first involved to generate the data sa namang pundok. So generally speaking, the assistance form of content of the primary source such as order sales and order etc. Second one, we have the data captured. So data must be recorded or collected in one way or another before the data can be processed. So kinanglan na ang data ma-record or collected in one way before na i-process ang data. The types of the knowledge is used for inputs and storage depending upon the industry and method adapt for data capturing. The data derived from the source records in the forms of papers and management documents can be 1. Carvings, 2. Automatic directory computers, and the last one is the other machine supporting feedback understandable by the machine. Next one is the sorting. Sorting. So, when ordered in a linear sequence, the management of documents is usually smoother. For example, they can be sorted in the following order. So, from high to low, from the oldest to the latest, and vice versa. So, balik-balik, pwede mabalik-balik. So, sorting means arranging hidden records in sequential orders. Merging. Merging is a function that lets you compile many files consecutively so that the files are already ordered. For instance, a new use files could be added to a current client master file in magnetic disk with a label like a customer number. Calculating. So, calculating is a numerical data. So, numerical data manipulation is called calculating, which is a common task for a data analysis to obtain effective data. So, common din siya na task for every data processing. This is generally the most important part of the procedure since the result mostly occur throughout the manufacturing process. Summarizing. Summarizing can be defined as a concise and practical reduction of quantity of the data. The data generally summarized in various forms such as chart and diagrams. There are few graphs like column, bar, chart, line chart, area chart, etc. To view the data form of view several created machines. So, kani siya, madali din nato masabtan because of the various forms, mga chart, mga diagram. Managing output results. So, following the conclusion, the device statistic procedure information or result are to be distributed or transferred by. So, A, we have the setup, monitoring, and diffusion of process result. Second one is records such as draft, invoice, and reports are unrestricted. Third one is the reclamation of confident item or articles of well-preserved evidence user application. An impression that comprises all features that the receive use output the system covers evidence. The last one is the enter rate and replication transmission. The storage. Storage is a finale. So, ano yung last daw? The result of the data processing must be stored to make possible use of document. Data hierarchy. Sa ato data hierarchy, so we have the bit, bytes, field or items, record, and file. So, information structure consists of files and records. So, number one, we have the bit. The word bit is the short form of binary digit. One of the dual terms 0 to 1 could be anticipated. So, kaning bit is the smallest unit of the computer. So, sa 8 ka bits, equivalent to 1 byte. So, ang kalahian ani sa mga iba like kilobyte, gigabyte, and megabytes is the prefix. So, example, ato kilobyte. So, 1 times 10 to the power of 3. So, ato megabytes. So, 1 megabytes times t to the power of 6. So, ang ato gigabytes. So, 1 gigabytes times 10 to the power of 9. So, ang ato na lahan is the prefix. So, bytes. Bytes is a programming language. The basic knowledge unit is called bytes. A 8-byte mix normally saves a bytes for data. So like I said that 1 bit is equivalent to 1 byte. So field or object, one of the several most bits of data, an area or data object contain data regarding individual properties. So cunning field is a group of characters. So, and database. Database is a record of single person list of the fields. So, and the last one is file. So file is a record collecting is a disk. So, the description of the system file is much like a manual files of repository. Archive. A database includes all organization, archive, arranged, and incorporated for updating, the collecting of the files, and so on. So, out of database is manage account files, personal files, and payroll files. So, that's all. Thank you.
Application Portfolio Development. What is application portfolio development? Application portfolio development helps you create a plan for new applications and future app updates. To ensure that your app are performing their best, this process will help you determine what kind of upgrades they need and when they need them. What is application portfolio? An application portfolio is a collection of software applications and services that are being used to achieve a specific business objective or goal. This collection is referred to as an application portfolio, and it contains various software that all work together in helping your company reach its goals. IT-based application is a technology of the companies for collections of knowledge and expenditures by the enterprise. In the tactics of organization, average performance is the key. The approach of portfolio honors the company's maturity. In their fall activities, the organization include application budget to look at new programs for the future. The portfolio provides a new mechanism to evaluate the enterprise's strategy. This 1996 approach is based on the general policies, guidelines, and procedures needed for educational decisions but with high applicability standards. The application portfolio shows similarities between corporate strategies and strategic initiatives, promote identification of risk for application expenditures, and contributes to the use of appropriate risk control methods, creates a structure for reporting corporate effectiveness, ensures that the whole IT infrastructure of a company is successfully incorporated. Characteristic of portfolio-based IT management. What is portfolio-based IT management? IT portfolio management is the application of systematic management to the investments, projects, and activities of enterprise information technology department. Implementing IT portfolio management. Risk profile analysis. So, risk profile analysis is to find out what risks are involved with what need to be measured and take precautions. Decide on the diversification of project, infrastructure, and technologies. IT portfolio management tools allows IT to make better decisions about investment in various elements of the portfolio. Continuous alignment with business goals. Top levels officials should be involved in the formulation of your portfolio. Continuous improvement. Lesson learned and investment adjustment. Management of the IT software maximize the control process used to construct a specification. These experiences demonstrated that the need to discuss the constraints of the process as well as extensive consultations with various stakeholders. The portfolio concept is based on the management's philosophy that any big investment requires close monitoring to improve its value and shield it from threats to its integrity. Profile Portfolio-based management control is a centralized evaluation of the success of the entire allocation continuum. It sets out a framework in which detailed decision-making information is accessible in the light of an entity operation. Application development and implementation are guided by the clear business need of our organization to serve its citizens and fulfill the regulatory mandate. Tools for the administrations of their statutory responsibilities. A comprehensive analytic mechanism is available for the determination of the best form of monitoring to conduct a project based on a quantitative study. Big projects are separated into equal, easier-to-use projects in any phase. Simply apply value without accepting the financing authorities' accompanying procedures. Portfolio-based IT is based on organizational knowledge about all instruments from the standpoint of an investment company. A wide range of decision makers are responsible for this portfolio, including ministry, officials, specialist organizations, managers, and program managers. The experience is structured to identify trends, problems, and prospects, and to analyze solutions to accompany total cost in the program. Portfolio information about an individual company is included. Engineers and personal capacity, business and corporate software development, tasks, regulations, structures, and procedure within the company, design, hardware technologies, and physical network and operation, other frameworks, continuous, cost of current and potential expenses and advantages, difficulties of opportunities of the application.
So, good day everyone. I am Marilo and Pin of Group 1. For the continuation of our group's report, I will be discussing about the management of data processing system in business organization. So, let's start. So, we have here structural management. So, it is the key to the entire company's success. So, the management structure depends on the size and efficiency of the organization. So, it is mean that it is the key, or it is a very important part of the entire company's or in achieving company goals. Why? Because in management structure, it describes how a company organize its management hierarchy. So organize. So it is really important to be organized. So sa tanan or halos tanan organization na ay hierarchy. So, ang hierarchy nag-exist. So, what do I mean about hierarchy? So, hierarchy determines the line of the authority, communication, rights, and duties of the organization. So, meaning naa na niya tanan. O, naapa ni siya it also determines how the roles, the powers, and responsibility are assigned, controlled, and coordinated, and how information flows between the different level of management. So, if if dili organized, I think ang usa ka organization messy na siya kay dili klaro ang ilahang mga task, like hatagan mo task na dili mao sa iyang skill, so di jud maayo. So that is why being organized or structural management mao ni ang key sa entire if ganahan mo success ang or mo achieve na goal ang usa ka company. So next, we have here the level of management. So sa level of management na itulo ka klase. So we have here the lower management, middle management, and depending on board or the top level management. So I have also here the illustrations of each level of management. So as what I'm saying earlier, so management it organized hierarchy. So meaning mag-start yun ta sa pinaka taas. So we have here this is the top level management. So it includes the board of directors and chief executives. So sa chief executive pwede ma-designate siya or mo assign siya mga chairman or manager director, president, executive director, or general manager. So in this level of management, it determines the objective of the business as a whole and lays down policies to achieve their objective. So in other words, so they exercise the overall control. Na sila control sa tanan or sa tanan organization. Sila ang pinaka-top. So next is we have here the middle level management. So here we have the head of various departments, production, sales, and other department managers. So in this level, they focus or they work out in different strategies to achieve objectives. So what they concern is the activities of their sa ila-ilahang department, sa different activities sa kani-kanilang department. So the last one is the last one but the most important is the lower management here. So the lower level management, it consists of foreman, supervisors, or the one who look after operative workers para ma-ensure na nagtrabaho sila properly and in time. So ang nga nang naingon man ko na they are the most important for me because they carry the responsibilities for producing the actual product or the goods and services in the organization, meaning sila ang workers na kung wala sila wala yung mga gamit or mga like products ang usa ka company. So that's why they are important. Okay? So next, we have here the information processing system is configured in typical scenarios. So number 1, electronic data processing or EDP chip. So EDP, it can refer to the use of automated methods to process commercial data. So typically it is used in this uses relatively simple repetitive pud siya na activities to process large volumes of similar information. So ang example ani is stock updates applied so on inventory, banking transaction applied to one account, or customer master files or more. So next is number 2, we have here software programming. So software programming, it is computer technology field na nagdeals sa kuan kanang creating codes or they deal in writing codes, creating codes. And next is the application for programmer. So they are someone who has acquired high level skills of variety computer programming languages. So gamitin nila ilang skills to modify or to create new software applications or programs. So number 4 is controller. Controller, it is the individual who kanang may responsibility for all accounting related activities sa company, including managerial accounting and finances. So next is repair and maintenance engineers. So sila pud is kanang mo focus sa optimization of equipment, procedures, machineries, infrastructure, and stuff. And last is the list of management. So next we have here, so the data processing manager normally has the following duties. So ang mga duties sa usa ka data processing manager or the managers. So number 1, so acquires new technology including application and hardware. So if usa ka manager, so dapat jud updated ka or like mag-learn ka new technology skills or updated ka sa mga technology or kanang sa mga applications, hardwares, because karon ang mga company is may kuan na sila, like nag-advertise na sila through technologies, diba? Na ganitay ingon na kanang to business to survive, it must grow and acquire new opportunities. So new learn technology, new learn skills means new opportunities. So number 2, same assessment. So if you are a manager, your judgment must be kanang nakakabuti sa usa ka company. That diba dili sa imong personal dili sa personal nimo kundi sa company. So number 3, accomplishes approve innovation. So dapat if you're manager, naa na kay ma-accomplish or naa na kay mga kanang new idea, new innovations, new methods, like that. Malawak dapat ang imong isip. So number 4, provides EDP services in line with the requirements of the company's customers. So as what I said ganina, ang EDP is like a method process commercial data. So kani siya is simple ra, like kanang masabtan ra inana ba. So kinahanglan jud na ang inyong service is kanang ayon jud sa inyong mga customers. So number 5, adds new functionality and removes old functionality. So old functionality. So syempre, if you're a manager, ang mga dili maayo imong tangtangon or mangita kag kanang maayo na like ideas or methods or regulations para ganang or mo lambo ang sa kumpanya. So number 6, implements new industry regulations and provides required interfaces of consumers. So the consumers or the customers, sila jud dapat ang unahon. So mag-implement kag mga kanang regulations para pud nang ma-happy pud ang mga consumers. Or 7, conducts resource accounting. So kinahanglan jud kay dapat na jud kanang about sa mga company or staffs, kinahanglan na jud mga records sa accounting. And number 8, maintains the system functionality by inspection and remedial intervention in every collapse scenario. So kinahanglan jud if you are a manager, if you are the data processing manager, kinahanglan na may problems dili ka magpanic like that. Kinahanglan na dili ka pada sa imong emosyon. Kinahanglan ka ng kuan ka. Kinahanglan is kuan ka ng like compose, diba? Okay. So next, I will also discuss about the computerized financial accounting system, or FAS or FAS. So we have here so the finance and accounting scheme is at the forefront of the whole supply chain. So ang finance and accounting is siya ang nag-lead sa whole kanang supply chain or sa budget, di ba? So mura siya kanang traffic enforcer, traffic cop na iyang i-record tanan financial documents or accounts. Diba? So here we have here financial planning. So it is a process of capturing and handling all transactions within an institution involving operations affecting the financial standing of the corporation. So it means na ang financial planning mo ni siya ang ga-process sa kanang framing financial policies na relation sa kanang procurement, investment, administration of funds of an enterprises or of an corporation or of an company ba. So kanang financial statement o kaning business balance sheets is every year prepare. So next, so why computerized FAS or FAS? So nanood ako ng computerized nganong dili man written. So first is ato ang ang meaning sa FAS. So ang FAS or financial accountancy system, it is an accounting system where the financial data of the organization is maintained. So maintained kanang meaning dito na murag gi-organize na, di ba? Accounting system, financial accounting system gi-organize na. So an organization financing needs to be controlled and computers are used to control this more efficiently. So, sa organization, sa company, syempre, dako naman ng budget, dako na kwarta, dako ng finance. So, dili na niya siya mamano-mano sa mga written. So, dili pod accurate, kanang dili pod masaligan ang written, di ba? So, mas need jud na computerized na kay ang computer is at least ang computer ganang control na niya o ganang efficient ang iyang trabaho. So there is a considerable amount of quantitative accounting information obtained using the same instrument. So maong computerized ang FAS pod kay ang calculation pod sa computer, syempre computer technology mas maayo man jud siya sa tao kay technology good na kanang machine good na, di ba? Mas efficient, mas accurate. So, ang calculation man good pod is simple and more calculate. So ang mga reports pod kana bitaw mga forward pod og dali kanang paspas ra ba ang ilang pag flow sa kanang forward og mga documents or stuff like that. So that's it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you.
Computerized inventory control system. Before we proceed to the discussion of the topic, let's first proceed to the objective of the report. The objectives of the report is to recognize inventory, payroll, and invoicing systems. Second is to understand each system's role in the businesses. So to understand more about the topic, let's first reflect on it by definition. Computerized inventory control system enables a company to monitor inventory levels in real time throughout the day. But remember, manual inventory control systems are simple and inexpensive to implement and are most appropriate for smaller businesses or those with small amount of inventory. Automated systems, though, are more accurate and allow businesses to identify slow-moving inventory and reorder fast-moving inventory before they run out, which could cost them sales. But what is an inventory to begin with? What is the role of inventory in a business? That brings us to our next slide with a query, what is inventory? So by definition, inventory is stock, or those goods and materials themselves held available by a business to meet future demands. Inventory refers to the buffer inventories of the items used to minimize harm caused by the company's non-accessible supplies. But how can we control inventory? Inventory control means managing your inventory levels to ensure that you are keeping the optimal amount of each product. In most businesses, stocks account for total operating cost between 50% and 70%. Although keeping stocks is unavoidable, it should be remembered that the inventory is an idle resource that adds additional costs. The company's profitability will be reduced by excess stockpiles. Why are we going to control inventory? Controlling inventory reduces the depletion of the consumer where necessary supplies cannot be used, and also reduces the total cost of products, covering the cost of sourcing. The second is the scope of quest inventory, the supply preparation, the supply and demand, good receipt and testing, and stock machinery. Inventory control and material management. Inventory control is also known as stock control. The value of inventory control extends from cost reduction to consumer satisfaction. Good inventory control saves your business time, resources, and money. This leads to significant gain of sales, but without it, your business profitability will suffer. So there are 4 key resources in material management. The first one is the requirement of material forecasting, the forecasting of material. Second, requirement of material planning, or the planning of the materials and the processing of the materials. And it all boils down to inventory control. So the requirement of material forecasting is the history of customers' dealing. So this is vital for all of these resources, key resources in material management. History of customer dealing, or knowing your customers' purchase history, preferences, and sentiments in your brand, allows you to treat them with high level of service. So for you to be able to forecast the materials needed in your business, you should know the history of your consumer or the customers. Then it drops down to the planning of the material, which includes the BR of material and the finished and semi-finished goods, the procurement of materials, the processing, which includes the master file of supplier and the stock master files. With this, you will be able to process or procure the materials needed in inventory control. Where in inventory control, there is a rule, regulation, policy of stock. Computerized payroll system. To further understand, let's define what is payroll. Payroll is the compensation a business must pay to its employees for a set period and on a given date. The payroll system ensures that a precise and prompt calculation of pay is provided for each employee. The payroll system includes the policy alteration, which boils down to the computation of payroll management system, updating report related to payroll system, and the employee's output and the organization output. Computation of payroll management system includes the government finance policy guidelines and the message related payroll. And updating related report to payroll system, it includes the payroll database system and the message related to payroll, which boils down to employee output and the organization output. The employee output includes the salary statement of the employee, the PF statement, and the tax deduction. And in organization output, the salary account, consolidated PF statement, and department salary statement. Computerized invoicing system. Invoicing, by definition, is billing. Billing is an integral part of a wide variety of procedures, including order scheduling and invoice processing. The issue with the method is customer receipts ordering, the customer receipts confirmation, the control of order, and the invoice generation. An invoice is a time-stamped commercial document that itemizes and records a transaction between the buyer and the seller. An invoice serves as a legal records if they contain the names of the seller and the client, description and price of goods or services, and the terms of payment. So invoicing system starts with the customer who is ordering. Ordering by customer, down to validating the order, or validate order, down to processing the order, and the last one is the billing or the invoicing. In validating the order, you should check if the order of the customer is valid and if there are stocks on the market. In processing the order, the company will provide the master invoice file. So this master invoice file is used for invoicing or billing, which is the last part of the invoicing system, which includes the price and still if the order of the customer is still valid. So this is the bibliography where the data were garnered for the report, and thank you for listening.
Good day, so we'll tackle about the introduction of management, civil, electrical, and electronic, MCEE, and computers. So this is a continuation. So we will tackle about civil computing. So it has computing simulated simulations, engineering application of CAD system. Civil computing. So civil engineering is a professional engineering discipline that deals with the design, construction, and maintenance of physically and naturally built environment, including public works such as roads, bridges, canals, dams, airports, sewerage system, pipelines, structural components of buildings, and railways. So in civil computing, it is thus threatening being incomprehensive and professional. So the creation of specific and interrelated irregularities extend from an construal of the objective world to the renovation of the objective world. The development of modern and advanced technology thus infiltrates national life to prevent great disturbance or incomprehension. Next is it infiltrate many components such as economic, social, environment, and trade. Engineering was the first complete reliability both in the past and in the present. Computer knowledge and technologies will also increase the complexities and cost of adapting to the process of science and technology, which is physically removing used in the computing technologies field. the spirit of financial and cultural activity. The last is the circulation in new products of modern science and technology. Ultra-fine computer development simulation software can be described as coordinated performance in the fourth generation. Innovation and device production engineering is gradually giving room for the technological development. So we will talk about now the computing simulations engineering application. So simulation is the process of using computer-based modeling of a system to understand its behavior and predict the effects of changes. Simulation represents a powerful method for analyzing, designing, and operating complex systems. Engineers can use simulation to assess the performance of an existing system or predict the performance of a planned system, comparing alternative solutions and designs. So simulation helps to gain insight during planning, design and construction stage and predict the structural behavior to optimize design in early design stage and engineering process as represented in figure 1, as what you can see in the right side. It had also helped civil engineers to test innovative concepts without fear of failure. So simulation is basically done in 3 ways in civil engineering. We have digital prototyping, simulation labs, and geophysical techniques. So digital prototyping. There are many software companies such as Autodesk, PTC, Siemens, PLM, Dassault, etc., which help in digital prototyping and engineering works. Biosimulation works in civil engineering with the help of digital prototyping are as following. So, kani kay balujud tani kay manatong permente gamiton the AutoCAD for making the drawing of our structure with exact dimensions and elevations of the parts of the structure, along with positions of doors, windows, ducts, and other openings. We have this STAAD Pro, this is 2000, PG, Super, and etc. For doing structural detailing such as size of members and reinforcement detailing, as what you can see in the right side in figure 2, analysis of structure with simulation tool. So next is the 3D Nature. Revit are major software used in this category. So that's what you can see in figure 3. That's the example. The visualization of an inside building with the help of tool. Next is Primavera, the scheduling of project, and the Aspen analysis of stratified slope stability can be done, and Floodworks for flood control works, BalanceNet for water distribution, planning and operation are done, which helps to improve water utilities. So AutoTurn, AeroTurn for building efficient transportation system, the ELPLA or ELPLA to analyze design slab foundation, and as what you can see in figure 4, that's one of the analysis of frame structure that you can perform in ELPLA. Next is simulation labs, the second one. The simulation lab is done by building prototype of the structure and then exposing the structure to various forces to get the result. It also helps us to know and decide the reservoir area and site for dam construction. As what you can see in the right side, the 2 pictures. Figure 5, understanding the work process at site with the help of simulation tool. And figure 6, structure analysis for wind load in tall building with the help of simulation tool. The last one is the geophysical techniques. In geophysical techniques, surveying is done with a set of measurements made with geographical instruments. Methods used in simulation are seismic method. This uses refraction and seismic tomography. Electromagnetic method. This uses ground penetration radar. C. Electrical method. It uses electrical resistivity, gravity technique, gravimeter, and last is the remote sensing technique. So a computer virtual numerical simulation shall identify and integrate the core content framework of the system model and simulator testing methods. Computer technology that draws similar technical domains may use simulation system architecture. Systems and materials modeling and research are key civil engineering scientists. Numerical computing is included as a lifetime or validated instrument in new simulation software technologies for the promotion of simulations and computing technologies. A series of parameters and the corresponding text will now be dynamically generated from the interactive simulator estimation mechanics. In specific, the following are the advantages. We have the mathematical patterns may frequently answer the tough or impossible reality of civil engineering in computer simulation environment, compositional relationship, and etc. Therefore, theoretical analysis of strength and durability is complicated. In practice, since real component relationships are established, but several failure measures are also available. Each criterion has a certain size, and along with experimental outcomes, each requirement has a constitutional relationship. So the last advantage is that virtual simulation software may model circumstances, alterations to the environment, and development of construction knowledge. So we may, for example, conveniently evaluate performance with bridge or prototype construction tools to apply the properties of materials in several forms, including shapes and combination of steel, and calculate dynamic simulation. So next is we have the application of CAD systems. So first, what is CAD system? So CAD system is a computer system for designing parts or product before they are manufactured. A CAD system uses computer analysis to design car parts and other products. Students use the computer and CAD system to create solid models of various machine components. It is also used by engineers, and construction managers. CAD, computer-aided design, has replaced manual drafting. It helps users creating design in either 2D or 3D so that they can visualize the construction. The CAD enables the development, modification, and optimization of the design process. So it is understandable naman, di ba? So next is we have the examples of CAD. So the AutoCAD, now we all know, then 3ds Max and Maya, commercial CAD software that titles published by Autodesk. Then we have Blender and an open source CAD animation and image processing application with an active community of users, and SketchUp, a proprietary CAD application that runs in a web browser formerly developed by Google that usa sad sa nahibaw-an nato nga software. Then what are the advantages of CAD? So it saves time. So you can easily visualize the ideas you gathered during the product design concept generation phase. Creating simple shapes and parts takes seconds. You can create a flat pattern and intricate bench sheet metal part with a click of a mouse. No need to contemplate how to present it correctly, and making changes is really easy. Increases productivity. Time saved translates directly into augmented productivity. The same amount of time can result in a higher number of completed projects, so it improves accuracy. Manual sketching cannot measure up to the accuracy of CAD drawings. Yeah, that's correct. I agree with this. So CAD design's accuracy is unparalleled with almost no errors. This gives it a huge advantage over manual designing and drafting. Complex surfaces and shapes can be created comparatively easily in CAD. These surfaces are extremely difficult to get right with manual sketching, but with CAD systems tools, a perfect result can be obtained. It decreases errors. Features such as interference checking for 3D models offer advantages unique to CAD systems. This feature helps the designer check for interferences between one or more parts. So it promotes better quality. It generates aesthetically pleasing drawings besides having added functionality. It also provides the user with a vast number of tools to create the drawing just as imagined. So the CAD, it is of understanding. The availability of 3D models to accompany drawings can make even the most difficult drawing easy to comprehend. CAD models also make it easier for designers to showcase their product to fellow designers as well as laymen or kanang wala kahibalo who have no foundation, or like normal people who have no foundation in engineering. So, quick sharing for collab. The CAD drawings, being digital files, are easy to share among the teams who are working on the same product. And next, the last one, the last advantage of CAD is the computer aided manufacturing, or CAM. Next is we had the applications of CAD. So CAD software is used in the following industries but not limited to this: product design and manufacturing, heavy engineering, construction, architecture design, animations, gaming industry, augmented and virtual reality, 3D printing, and etc. And it is highly qualified technology. Technologies are also an attractive field for computers. The CAD is a simulator expert, mostly based on a basic body of knowledge, an inference system, and user experience and extra information for computer solving and analytical skills. The regular project typesetting is shown in figure 16. As you can see here, muna siya ang katong diingon diri nga regular project typesetting sa CAD system. Kana siya. So the information and knowledge storage experience is a static collection. A powerful knowledge base can very well articulate and store expertise in a body of knowledge. The machine of logic is an expert system technique used to improve parameter of problems. There is generally positive, cynical, and contradictory logic. The consequence of the reasoning process is based on the existing facts and rules. Positive argument, and data orientation. The interpreter is a mechanism to answer questions of users in the thought process. Application in the context of reasoning is a context of complex information in the database base to answer customer concerns such as why, how, and others. The graphical frame and the interface are peculiar to the technology expert system. They also culminate in the matured bounds. The CAD software kit is used into the system, and the expert system is fully automated and intelligent. So, in conclusion, sketching still has a place in the design industry. Many designs start with a rough, manual draft of the product before moving into CAD. We all know this. Nag-start man dyan sa sketching kay Bentoy. Mga technology pa ba sa una nga pwede magamit. But when it comes to modern product modeling, sketching just doesn't cut it anymore. CAD has ushered in an era of professional design that is so light, quick, and wholesome that it cannot be overlooked anymore. To avoid using CAD in this time is akin to swimming against the tide, and therefore a profit-seeking vendor can't afford to lose out on the benefits of CAD. So according to the study of Kencho Law, William Rasdorf, Muhammad Karamuz, and Osama Abudayi, the effective use of computers in engineering processes and applications is recognized by many as the key to increase individual, company, and national productivity. Civil engineers are always looking for new ways to help their teams get the job done. There is no one-size-fits-all approach, and with constant technological changes in civil engineering, there is a lot of room for creativity. That was all for my report.
Electrical computing. So electrical computing tackles about the remote control structures, which has 4 topics, namely direct control, control via dedicated server, control via the virtual server, and choosing the structure of remote control. So direct control. Direct access means that you can interface with the hardware directly. The network system is shown in figure 1.7. The server, infrastructure, and security with computer control module are included in this framework. Both stages, including the hypertext transfer protocol or the HTTP or the short Ethernet layer, can be achieved by network modules. Final control involves prompt completion of the necessary system procedures. One drawback is the minimal resources available from the built-in computer, which has 2 rows, the database and a process management system World Wide Web. So the entire user interface will be included in the programming memory chip as a static hypertext markup language or the HTML script. The use of technology would have digital components that carry out all consumer experiences. Another task for a microcontroller control unit is to the detriment of the present structure solution. This paradigm is recommended for basic frameworks that need a direct response from customers. But please note that these services are only managed by a small number of users as shown in figure 1.8. So, in control via dedicated server. A dedicated server is an enterprise-grade physical server used to host the applications and services of a single hosting client. Dedicated servers are typically used to host high traffic websites, web applications, and for other hosting scenarios where performance is paramount. As seen in Figure 1.8, the form extended from point A. The system has been connected to various online services specifically related to control system. The system offers all advantages of direct control, including additional cost during deployment and operation. The dedicated server manages a web service complicated websites. Meta description depends on the condition of the control system. Only the processor with a microcontroller performs certain required functionality on the computer. For the entire bandwidth of the user interface, a physical server is used. The server and control unit must be physically integrated. Due to the larger measurements of the server, the connection is not always possible in terms of the controller height. It raises delays to link a device to a controller on long routes. The wireless network assists in building and placing the history of the control strategy in a folder. All networking facilities, including that of the fixing and setup of the essential applications, may also be presented. So, control via the virtual server. The system architecture on a virtual server is shown in Figure 1.9. The framework provided has all the assistances of straight supervision but delivers extra budget during execution and amenity. The client is linked to the computing cloud as with dedicated machines. This disparity is not apparent for the buyer, but for the internet access to the microcontroller-driven controller, a network adapter should be mounted. The implanted computer can communicate with the computer system in two ways: request and continuous communication. The global solution is a customer and server request answer mode. For this requirement, no regional static Internet Protocol address should be assigned. Any free server provided by an infrastructure network is an innovation in virtualization. The XML RCP, or the Extensible Markup Language, is recommended for data transmission, which is shown in Figure 1.10. The method of data sharing is XML RCP structured. It helps to simplify customers' queries on the server. The driver specifies the suitable methods in the remote desktop, which is to bring the server's current position into the virtual machine catalog and download running instructions. So, choosing the structure of the remote control. So, to do the job, the code from B was used. It promotes direct customers' experience with the technology and enables the expansion of modern control structures. Remote desktop software captures a device screen and mouse and keyboard inputs and transmits them to another device where a user can view or control it remotely. As a different channel, a dedicated server was attached to the management system, and a specialized node was used for NGW100 Network Gateway Atmel. The database is connected to the wireless serial device. So that would be all of my report, and thank you for listening.
So, good day, everyone. So today I'm going to discuss another topic. So let's start our presentation. So CE for 4. So chapter 1. Introduction of Management Civil, Electrical and Electronic, or MCEE in computers. So I'm also a member of group 1. So start the presentation. So the reporter is no other than me, myself, and I, Mr. Hintapan Gino. So let's proceed to the topics. So the topics that I'm going to discuss is all about the electrical computing. The subtopic is the remote control structures, examples of remote laboratory. The second topic is the electronic computing, and the subtopic, which is the detailed study. So let's proceed to the electrical computing. So the first subtopic, which is remote control structures. So in the remote control structures, there are 4 control na discuss na ako. So the first one is the direct control. So the direct access refers to the ability to interact directly with the hardware. So in the figure, here in the picture, illustrates the network system. So these frameworks include the server, infrastructures, and the security, as well as the computer controlled module. So the network modules may handle both level, including HTTP. HTTP means the Hyperlink Transfer Protocol na may naka-assign sa standard application level protocol used for exchanging files on the World Wide Web. So also na, and the short internal layers. So internal means may nag-involve sa signals, perform a key role in the communication that takes place between devices. So this system may be mated with a software package that graphically allows operators to monitor, control, alarms, and diagnose building equipment remotely. So in a single control system is included with a 8 kabuok na bits microcontroller and internal controller. So the entire user interface will be included in the programming memory chip as a static HTML script. So another task for the microcontroller control units is to determine of the presented structure solutions, and that is recommended for basic framework that needs a direct response. So in the remote control structures, when we said direct control, it's a control that it's the easy control. Na direct siya na kung unsay maka-access siya sa ability within the internet through the hardware. So moto ang sa direct control. So the next one is the control via dedicated server. So the structure expanded from point A, as shown in figure 1.8. The system is linked to a number of web services that are directly related to the control system. So the system provides all the benefits of direct control with the added expense of implementations and operations. A dedicated server is in charge of a web server's complex websites. The status of the control system has an impact to the meta description. Certain computer functions are only performed by the processor with a microcontroller. A physical server handles the whole bandwidth of the user interface. Physical integrations between the server and the control unit is required. So physical integration between the server and the control system is required because due to the large measurements of the servers, the connection is not always possible in terms of the controller height. It raises delay to link a device to a controller on a wrong lots. Kay madali man basta taas kaya passage area process. So the next one of the remote control structure is the control via the virtual server. So in the figure 1.8, here in the figure 1.8 depicts the system architecture of a virtual server. So the system offered has all the benefits of direct supervisions, but it also include additional expenditures for limitations and amenity. As with dedicated workstation, the client is linked to the computing cloud. So in the control via virtual server, compared to a dedicated server, ang virtual server shares software and hardware resources with other operating systems. So virtual server are common because one, they can provide more efficient resources control and are cost effective through server virtualizations. So for the internet access to the microcontroller driven controller, a network adapter should be mounted. So dapat kuno network adapter. So the implanted computer can communicate with the computer system in two ways, the request and the continuous communication. So the global solution is in the customer and the server request answer mode. For this requirement, no regional static IP or IP address should be assigned. Any free server provided by an infrastructure network is an innovation in virtualization. The XML or RCP extensible markup language is recommended for data transcription. So traditionally, a physical server is dedicated to a specific task or application with a full processing power. So multiple physical servers require space, power, and money to maintain. So mounting giingon ganina na kuan ko no. But it also includes additional expenditures kung i maintain ang iya kanang specific task or application. So ang benefit sa virtual server kay to faster the provisioning of applications and resources. Second one is to improve disaster recovery and the business community. So kanang mga recovery about password in yung mga accounts. So mo na ang gamit sa virtual server. So the next one ay also in control via dedicated server, mao na ang gi-focus ng dedicated server kay nag-provide of computing resources for a single enterprise that needs to host websites or applications. So ang dedicated servers sad kuno are highly customizable appliance that offer businesses many choices for hosting and managing traffic. So in all organization, kinahanglan man na mag-store tag data, whether it be personally identifiable information of their customers, user credentials, and analytics, and also maintaining access to their websites and business applications such as email and CRM systems. So kana na mga needs sa users or sa consumers kay makuha na mahatag na sa dedicated server. So mo to ang kalimtan. So the last one, the remote control structures is the choosing the structure of remote control. So to do the job, the code from B was used. It promotes direct customer experience with the technology and enables the expansion of modern control structures. as a different channels. A dedicated server was attached to the system or management system. A specialized node was used for NGW100 or network gateway. At MEL, the database is connected to the wireless serial device or recommended standard 232. So choosing the structures for the or in the remote control kay mag-promote siya og direct customer experience with the technology and enable expansion of modern control structures. So dapat be careful of choosing structures for using in the remote control. So mo nang but pasabot nga rin. So the next topic also in the electrical computing, the subtopic number 2 is the example of remote laboratory. So the first one is the basic design goal. So marag ma-understand naman sa sa iya level na basic design goal. So the protocol shall allow the user to directly interact with the object. So the potential system flowchart is shown in figure 10. So shown in figure 10. So kani ang iya flowchart. So the unit includes a temperature sensor and 2 electrical motors. So the radiator and the ventilator to refresh the destination. Both sections are controller are included. So the goal was to design and develop an electronic system that could be controlled remotely through the internet. So the remote control concentrate on the interaction of specified physical processes. So basic design goals, kuan ko no, kanang mag-develop og electrical system na kana nang dali ra ma-access through internet. So mo na pasabot sa basic design goal. So the second one is the proposed project. So the test must be communicated directly with the other device and the object. So the proposed approach consisted of a detector experiment and an item with 2 components, a cooling fan and a heater. The pilot is in charge of both parts, both cooling fan and heater. So the control object's movement might take a long time. The aluminum radiator was made up of something. So either be kanang ligunan ba nila para dugay maguba. So the temperature of the product may be calculated. The heat and the heating and the cooling components can be adjusted. So mga to, need sila radiator to para ma-calculate ang temperatures and dali ra ma-adjust ang iya cooling o ang iya heating. So in the proposed project also, the heating system has been permanently repaired without the possibility of a consumer exemptions. The customer monitors the actual temperatures, connect a fan on a permanent heating system to or from record temperature fluctuations. So mo to ang sa proposed project. So I think the last one of the examples of remote laboratory is the user interface. Only the application installation is needed for the application. Preferable kay Mozilla Firefox. GS and jQuery library maps generated the PHP. PHP means hypertext processor. So mao sa niyang popular scripting language that is used to create a dynamic web pages. So in otherwise, HTML, HTML sad kay means hypertext markup language madali. And kana siya kay specify siya og kanang system for tagging text files to achieve font colors or either graphics and hyperlink effects on the World Wide Web pages. And JavaScript features. GS chart shall be placed in the identity map field. So jQuery's fundamental elements including keys, sliders, tabs, and columns. In the most cases, a long string will consist of number with a maximum length of 3 characters or less. A string of at least less 4 character can be used as a password. So, a string ko no, at least 4 character can be used as a password. The device allows you to log in without or bisag walay certain users. You may get authors, informations, scheme certifications, links, and sorting capacity or eager registration. So the last topic is the electronic computing. So subtopic niya 151 detailed study. So Boolean, or how do you call that, Boolean memory crossbar logic circuit mapping methods enables the incorporation of massive multi-bit other logic circuits. The aims of adding a CMOS or CMOS crossbars are follows. So, ang CMOS, kay kuan siya, complementary metal oxide semiconductor. So, isa na siya ka sensors that convert light into electrical signals. So, the aims of adding CMOS crossbars are follows. So, first is to use the perceptron crossbar to make massive logic circuits. Next is to optimize region, time, and energy consumptions. And the last one, ang aim niya kay peripheral CMOS architecture that functions as a control engine. So in here in design study, natay model of the MER-resistor. So there are two conduction state in the model, the high or RH and the low is the LH. When the voltage value exceeds voltage limits, or if it's remain in the previous state, the storage is moved from one state to another. Two separate states are required, medium to medium resistance, which is ang reset, and high to low resistance, which is ang set. So, moto ang sa model of MER-resistor. The next one is the Boolean logic working principles. So Boolean logic architecture is applied to resolve the logical design using the sum of the material layout. The output F can be proportioned by AND and NAND gates. So when we say NAND gate, is a logic gate which produce an output which is false only if all inputs are true. So kung mag-produce siya outputs which is false only if it's all outputs are true, mo na ta ang makomplement siya ag AND. So involving of several memory bars, many input and output latches are available depending on the input and outputs. The CMOS or the complementary metal oxide semiconductor circuit required for the crossbar portion of memory base since design is 7 state and discussed below. So natay 7 states. First kay ang INA or ina. So starting from RH, so ang high man natong RH no. Memorandum as a whole. For this state, the reset operation is necessary. So the next one is the RIN. In this state, it is essential to obtain inputs, reset, or copy operators. The CFM, all state misters configuration. So both kuno bottom limits are simultaneously fitted or copying. So the fourth one is EVM. evaluate all the subtitles evaluated for the non-service service. So in the fifth state, ang GER, the output, this condition, and the process of and will be generated. So in the sixth state, INR, so reversed result condition. And last but not the least, ang SOU. Here the data for productions and process are stored. So mauna ang sa Boolean logic working principles. So mao to ang about sa electrical computing and electronic computing. So I hope na namoy nakatunan sa report and have a good day everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Dayan De Vera, and so to continue what Mr. Gintapan's topic under the electronic computing, next probably would be the performance model. So unsa ni siya? So it is a model created para ma-define ang other significant aspects in which ang proposed or ang actual systems can maka-operate in terms of resources consumed, contention for resources, ug mga delay which introduced by processing or physical limitations. So under the performance model, we have storage access time. A routing page cache is normally taken from an FTL page mapping to translate LPN into PPN with a limited RAM. So basically, to introduce the abbreviations, FTL stands for Flash Translation Layer, LPN is Logical Page Number, PPN is Physical Page Number, and RAM stands for Random Access Memory. So, ang routing page cache kuno kay kasagaran gikuha na gikan sa FTL page mapping aron ma-translate ang LPN ngadto sa PPN nya na ay limited nga RAM. Next is waiting time. The latency request consists of two components, disk access and waiting time. The cycle from check-in to check-out is the time of order. The operation I's latency is T latency is equals to T wait plus T access. So, ang latency mo na ato gitawag na delay, which it defines kung unsa kadugay ang message moabot sa iya destination. For example, if you have a long message, how long it takes for that long message to reach that destination from the time it was sent from the source. So, mauna ang latency. The mapping cache verification on embedded flash storage device. The demand-based caching is architecture. This control panel of the software is possible with the electronic application. The circuit breaker is an essential feature of the transmitting and supply mechanism. Online circuit breaker state monitoring can prevent errors that can lead to costly repair and loss of operation. So, karon di ba na natay mga popular memory system? So, ang IoT, they also started to make innovative changes sa integrated framework while go-work og mga new circuits. So, kaning control panel sa software kay possible na sad sa electronic application. So, all of these have an essential features and the new version is now available nowadays. However, overload and occasional heating information cannot be used in this inspection process. There is no discussion of market time and lack of certainty about when it will be commercially viable. This is now controlled using new automated IoT microcontroller technology, and various parameters are monitored continuously, including the power delivered, output pressure, and circuit breaker's temperature. All outputs are supplied on the computer through VB software. So, ang latest infrastructure for electronic circuits and architectures kay it cannot meet the rising market opportunity for automation. So, walay discussion of market time ug lack of certainty siya. But however, ang overload ug ang occasional heating information kay dili magamit sa inspection process, but karon makontrol na siya using the new automated IoT controller technology. And naa sa mga various parameters that are monitored continuously para ani. So the 1633-bit ARM7 microcontroller incorporating 3264 kilobyte microprocessor is based now on a real-time emulator and tracking aid in high memory encoding, which this will be further discussed later on. The microcontroller ARM7. The LPC2148 microcontroller is built on 1632-bit ARM7, which incorporates a 642 kilobytes microprocessor with integrated high-speed flash memory, emulation and trace help. So, kanisha, it is commonly used in embedded systems applications, which it is a balance among classic as well as sa katong mga new Cortex sequence. It suits completely for an apprentice para ma-obtain in detail ang hardware and software design implementation. And this LPC2148 microcontroller is designed by Philips, which naani siya several na mga inbuilt features and peripherals, which it will make more reliable na for an option. Next is we have LCD display, a simple and inexpensive way to screen text displays in embedded systems. Shows 6 to 20 characters display. So as you can see, liquid crystal display is a type of flat panel display that uses the light modulating properties of liquid crystals combined with polarizers. So available ni siya para i-display ang katong mga arbitrary images or ang fixed images nga na low information content. So that's why it only shows 6 to 20 characters display. Next, we have the RF transmitter or receiver. In case of infrared communication, there is a line of sight connection between the transmitter and receiver, but communication over radio frequency does not have line of sight connection. So as you can see sa picture, on the right side mao na ang RF receiver and on the left side is the RF transmitter. So ang RF receiver kay naanay 4 pins. So these pins are namely the VCC, data, antenna connection, and ground. So a VCC pin ani should be powered with a regulated 5-volt supply, and ang operating current sa ani is less than 5.5 milliampere. The pin data and the antenna is shortened together to receive the 433 megahertz signal from the air. So kalisad na signal kay i-demulated ni siya to get the data and sent out through the data pin. So, ang transmitter kay gakonsisad ni siya og 3 pins, namely the VCC, data, and ground. Ang VCC pin kay nanay wide range input voltage from 3 volts to 12 volts. And the transmitter consumes a minimum current of 9 milliampere and can go as high as 40 milliampere during sa transmission. So, ang center pin mao na ang data pin nga mo transmit og signal. Next is keypad. The array parameter can be modified. So keypad is used now as an input device to read the key pressed by the user and to process it. One best example is the commonly used na keypad, which is the matrix keypad, wherein it is an efficient tool to input an array. Next is signal conditioning, a signal operation to be protected for the use of other circuits called signal conditioning in an appropriate manner. The array variable can be changed. So, ang signal conditioning kay manipulation ni siya of an analog signal in such way that it meets the requirements of the next stage para sa further process. So, kanang important ba ni siya, required ba ni siya, Yes, it is required now because ang signal conditioners kay it protect personnel and equipment from the dangerous voltage. Next, we have temperature sensor. On this circuit, the temperature is LM35. It includes three connectors, a pin, an input voltage pin, and a field pin. If the weather is above the correct temperature, the water pump starts and gradually reduces the temperature. So, kaning temperature sensor, obviously, it is a device used to measure temperature. So, unsa man ni na temperature? So, maoning air temperature, liquid temperature, ug ang temperature sa mga solid matter. So, kaning LM35 maoning temperature sensor that outputs an analog signal which is proportional to the instantaneous temperature. Next is voltage transformer. The fundamental purpose of the power supply is to downgrade the transformer. The secondary converter is either connected to the phase or the ground, depending on the requirements. The second part has less wind or twist to act as a converter move. So, kani siya ang core aning transformer kay ga-work para ma-direct ang path sa magnetic field between sa primary and secondary coil para ma-prevent ang waste energy. Lastly is the current transformer. The transformer's central principle is electrical power, but the main current function here has become a voltage level or current requirement. So, this current transformer, mao na ning type of transformer nga gayus para ma-reduce or ma-multiply ang alternating current. So, it produces a current in its secondary which is proportional sa current sa primary. So, we have the advantages in using this: building low cost and energy efficiency, real-time tracking, and computer repair software connection to the equipment. So, what are its uses? A significant portion of the circuit is a microprocessor nowadays, and electricity needs mainly to be installed. Trying to reduce power supply is a standard approach to achieve poor power budgets, either by decreasing marginal software supply or by using dynamic stress scaling power-saving technology. So this instrument can be used for the maintenance and monitoring of home appliances. Digital and analog modems can be used to detect and save voltage situations. Device placement issue nevertheless faces two major problems, and the chip field and adjustment problem lie in its rear drawing. Noise sensor can consume a certain chip size, and it can't be placed in the area where the sensor readings and voltage are to be monitored. Machine learning can be used to solve problems such as high-level synthesis, circuit control, and physical architecture. It can also predict the voltage circumstances at far from the sensors. The invention of a matched noise sensor voltage unit could speed up development of next-generation superconductors. So, various techniques have been tested to solve this challenge, and the problem stated is the noise sensor that can consume a certain chip size where it can be placed in an area where the sensor readings and voltage are to be monitored. So, ang error mo occur gyud sa kana na field. It is also advantageous based sa limited number of sensors na makapredict og voltage circumstances at far from the sensors. So, in recent years, ang machine learning kay gayus na to address problems such as high-level synthesis, circuit control, and physical architecture. So, both problems can be saved with the invention of a matched noise sensor voltage unit. Conclusion of the introduction of management, civil, electrical, and electronic in computers. The portfolio of an organization is a list of information about the company's IT application infrastructure expenditure. Financial accounting is a means to assemble and development of all activities in an organization. even events which affect the organization's financial position. Other computerized business systems include inventory accounting and payroll management. Computer technology has to a certain extent changed the traditional methods of analysis which have improved the efficiency of civil engineering. The use of an expanded server and a microserver controller structure provides programmers with several possibilities. The modularity of the structure enables several tests to be prepared. A dedicated server is a common feature, whereas the controller is implemented separately. The CMOS system to the Memristor crossbar would undoubtedly have a few benefits concerning its scalability, which is the next thing in the smart world to scale up a wide circuit and automation. So, ang NAND flash memory storage nga gamay na mapping cache kay ga-introduce aron ma-address ang storage problems nga walay cache. So, the details on the failure of the circuit will help to reduce the time. So, overall, learning the introduction of management, civil, electrical, and electronic in computers will help you to have a broad spectrum when it comes to MCEE. Traditional methods of analysis have been altered to some extent by computer technology, which has enhanced the efficiency of civil engineering. So that's all, everyone. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.
Erasures are strictly prohibited when answering the following questions. Write your answer on a sheet of paper. Deadline of the assignment would be on May 5, 2022.